Hello. Here is some devastated hemlock. There's the top of a tree. I can still use that pole. It'll have a lot of knots on it. But we'll whack those out with some knife or another. So I'll come back for that. But I was out yesterday walking the dogs, and I marked some trees with a race knife. So I thought I would go over there with 3 of the dogs, the 3 males, and this camera, and kind of show a little bit of the forest side of my fencing project, because I've shown a little bit about how I'm processing the poles. So here are the woods in our backyard, in which we have a lot of hemlock growing like weeds. Here's a small one, too small to use, over there as well. So it's a kind of fir tree. Yeah, I should come back for that maybe. I don't know if that's 9 feet long there. So I'm thinning out. In principle, that is good for the forest. And when it rains, I can burn all the junk left over. I found that the bark burns very well when you strip it off the poles. It kind of burns better than the wood. So I've been using that with a little chimenea in the dark to light my vista, so I can see what I'm doing when I'm stripping those poles. And it keeps the bugs off. It's a big deal. Very good out here as well. You stand still for a minute and the bugs swarm. So if I'm going to be in one spot for a while, I like to make a fire. Kind of leave it like that, and I can pick up with it anytime. So there are a few of those dotted about. That fell off the trailer. And that's a beach pole. That's not for fencing. That was just something I cut earlier. So there's a bigger hemlock. That's too big for my use. Here's a little stand. And apparently hemlock, they call it the poor man's hardwood. It isn't really a hardwood, but it is very strong. If you cut a hemlock pole for a broomstick or something like that, it's very strong and very lightweight. And it has a nice kind of tone to it. They do split out easily if you just harvest them and then directly debark them. So down here, I came in the other way last time, but I ended up over here somewhere. So I should come up with some trees with axes on them any second now. Any second now. I mean, a lot of these are viable, but I kind of wanted to retrace my steps to some degree. Did I end up over here, further over? Well, I've marked some further over that way or whatever, but this one here is so viable. I'm just going to stop right here. And here's a nice rock. So I've been carrying just in my hand, because it's the last things I grabbed from outside, this logger's tape measure. Fantastic tool. Got this spike on the end here. And hearing protection. And this log bag, this electric chainsaw, it's very lightweight. And the heavy part is in the bag here. So while these guys do some digging, I don't know where their bro's gone, but he's probably nearby. Do a little one of these bag checks. So I was trying to be lightweight with the bag to some degree. I mean, a lot of the stuff is just stuff I always keep in there. And I bust the zip on it. Look at that. Two-handed operation. Necessitated. I'm going to need this. That's bar oil. That's now empty, but I had some tinder in there. It's good stuff. That's the rescue survival tool. Oh man, I'm a goof because I brought a honing steel, but I didn't need. This is the best honing steel I actually possess. Probably. That'll only be the hardest. Or actually, even on that, I can't speak with authority. I don't know. I have a big old honing steel in here. From Solingen. Isn't that cool? For the machete, this is the OKC that I showed earlier when I got it, but I've done quite a lot of modification. Most recently, just now, I put this lanyard on there. But I filed down the handle a lot. Had a great big bowl on here. And the whole thing was very wide. Took it in there a little bit. And here, there was a kind of a guard that came out here. And so the actual edge proper only started up there. So I deleted that whole guard and brought the edge all the way down here so you can have a full working edge and choke right up on there and right back on here, and way better than it was really from the factory. It kind of looked cool with the big chunky handle, but this is way more comfortable, way more usable. And I must have hit this thing 1,000 times with a carbide hammer in an attempt to kind of get it more straight. Had a big old kink and warp in it. So I did improve on it a lot. The edge is not really straight. You can see it's kind of bowed there. But what I'm doing is I'm just sharpening on this side, really, or grinding in to thin out behind the edge only on that side. So we're getting to somewhat truer and thinner. And really it's still, what it is I think now is it's a little too thin right behind the edge. And then it's kind of too thick further behind. Or kind of too thin at the edge, let's say, and too thick still behind. Because I lent it to my wife and it came back looking all dinged up at the edge there. But you feel it, it's still pretty fat. So I did just refinish it a bit. We'll see how she performs. And this one, out of my becoming somewhat extensive machete collection, is the choice because it fits in the bag. It's the one that fits, and it's got enough to it to get the job done, but it is very lightweight. So I think this thing has a pretty good power to weight ratio, and the steel was not easy grinding. This 1095, OKC 1095, probably pretty well done. So a lot of the machete work that I do also will involve the spine whack. So on this stuff, there's really no point wasting your edge on that. Something like this, a little tap with the edge, and then it'll go. Yeah. So yeah, let's have a little fun. Instead of me going in with the chainsaw, which is just boring, why don't I just chop on this tree for a while? Maybe I can even get the camera lined up. I don't have to hold it. And I think, so I'm kind of up against the rock, I'm looking through the moss, and what I'm seeing looks good. So I guess we'll come in here, see how she chops, see how she holds up. yeah, I mean, principally this is just going to be for snedding. If you don't know what snedding is, that's trimming off all the branches and stuff. Since I put my edge on it, my geometry on it to some extent, might as well test that out. The knots of this tree are tough, but this part is not very tough. The bark may be a little hard. The wood's green, so. Looking good, pretty good. Maybe getting a little rolling in there, just a touch. I figure once it starts rolling, it's just going to keep rolling, isn't it? You're just whacking that fold into the wood grain. So if it's there, might as well just take it off. There she went. This is how I use a rod. I burnish, and I'm not on the edge. I'm just burnishing behind the edge, just polishing it up. That in principle is work hardening, as is the carbide hammer. And then when I get to the apex, there I'm gentle. There I'm just kind of feeling it. Feeling the little clicks. I don't really like doing a paper test. The rod there. Snap that twig in case it was getting in the way. Put my lanyard on. This is why I also figured out it's good if you have a lanyard to put a knobbly bit like this, however inelegant I did it, that really helps to pull it on like that. Pull it off. You want to be able to pull it off quickly. Now, I just realized just now that one thing I didn't really think about is which way I'm trying to make this thing fall down. It's probably the opposite way from where I'm going, as it were, actually. Whoops! Yeah, I thought to start in on this side, and I thought, for the camera, go in the other way. Well, standing pretty straight. Hopefully I'll be able to just push it over at some point. Okay. Whoops. Get you in a minute. Just kind of in a bit of a pinch right now. Okay. We got a good lean. Huh. How did the flashlight switch on this thing? That's weird. That's very strange. Off. Switch off. There we go. Right. Well, I've started, so I'll finish. You're still with me? Thanks for watching. I've got more knives to show. Hang tight. Forgot about that part. How's that looking? Good? Good enough? Good enough for showbiz? Right. Apologies for the cinematographic bumbling. Cinematographical. I think I'm just going to leave him stumpy. I'm not going to try and get him too clean with this thing. That's going to be too much work. Later I'll take a heavy knife and bash these off. Maybe go for the big ones with a chainsaw. Yeah, some of this is chainsaw stuff, really. But for the demonstration, crappy display of bladesmanship. Anyway, feel good about yourself. Now, I feel like it should be getting some of this stuff in one that I'm not, but let's see if I really go for it with this thing. There we go. Pretty much. I mean, I guess that's still technically a fail, but it's definitely promising. Like I say, I think we can thin this out a bit more, get a bit more performance out of it yet. Just got to play around with the geometry. Yeah, you kind of got to be strategic with this stuff, which I'm not being here. I'm not exactly overthinking it with the camera in hand. So, you know, with it, come here with the Jimmy Slash Chopper or the Bark River Vengeance. A lot of this stuff is just going to plow off in one. But then you also have to consider stamina, strength, what have you, with these here noodle arms. Skinny strong, I will say. I might be stronger than I look, but not by that much, I wouldn't have thought. Accuracy is also a big deal, right? And of course, where you hit it. I mean, a lot of my viewers, if not all, will know this stuff. But this is kind of bouncy, right? If I hit it like this, as hard as I can, that's what's happening. Not much. Now, if I go it at an angle this way, much better. But it's still springy, right? And so let's say I'm hitting it here where it's really thick and it's got all this spring, all that is absorbing some of the whatchamacallit, the energy from this blade is being transmitted into this going boing, right? Instead of staying put where it wants to be here, or where I want it to be. So you can make it a lot easier on yourself by chopping things down in stages. now already, well, this is going to come off easy in one. Was gonna. Now, let's see how much damage I can do if I whack it here. At this intersection, at an angle, here where it's nice and supported, not a lot going on there to bounce around. I kind of made it, halfway through. Wasn't a good strike. Blame the workman, not the tool. You know, maybe it does make sense to do them nice and low here. Take it home a little smooth. Maybe it does make sense. I'm figuring it out. How did I leave with 3 dogs and now there are 4? That's a mystery of life, my friends. Did this one jump out of the car or something? Honey nut? Hey, honey nut! See? Ignoring me. Huh? What's that look? And that's Boyle. And that's Jin Jin. He's savage. And that's Smiles Davis. He's a joker. But Cherry, nowhere to be seen. Hasta la próxima.